On Osrc at 7, candidates in Ondo State expressed satisfaction over conduct of 2022 UTME amid concerns of possible improvement in admissions system. Southwest chieftains of APC agree on common front ahead 2023 general elections. Federal government appeals to airline operators to reconsider shutdown. And from the foreign scene, Boris Johnson's party suffer losses in UK local elections. Good evening and thanks for joining me on Osrc at 7. My name is Remy Allen. Conducting the ongoing Unified Tertiary Matriculations exam, the exam in batches have raised talks about the possible implosion of the country's admissions system. Unlike in the past, when the test was conducted in lesser days, this year's edition has been slated for 10 days, perhaps due to limited centers that can accommodate nearly 2 million candidates writing the exam. In this report, Osrc's Richard Elesomi examines the conduct of the exam and some of the issues raised.
No fewer than 1.7 million candidates are writing the ongoing Unified Tertiary Matriculations examinations, 300,000 more than the 1.4 million who sat for the exam last year. The computer-based assessment, which began years ago, takes on a different dimension this year by dividing candidates into 3 sections at over 755 accredited CBT centers nationwide.
You all have seat number on your slip. Now take your seat number.
Here in Ondo State, the exam, which began Friday, May 6, is expected to last for days depending on the number of candidates at over 20 accredited CBT centers. According to the guidelines released by JAMB, candidates were checked in at the exam hall using the barometer in Akure, the state capital. Some coordinators said the candidates are being split into 3 sessions in line with the 250 carrying capacity of their centers with no problem.
It is manual process, which is pencil and paper. But now, you can't expect those students to come and write the exam in the center. It's not possible. So we have to split them. And due to the pandemic again, we need to control the crowd, of which we are doing that.
We don't have computer center that can accommodate all the candidates, thousands of them at the same time. So the only way to do that is to make sure the candidates come in batches. The 2 weeks actually is for the whole period of the examination throughout the nation. There are some centers that will have it for lesser days. For example, in my center here, we'll be having the exams for just 4 days.
This computer one is also good because it also makes some students that are not computer learned, it makes them know more about computer. It does not go off, but at least they really tried about the system and others.
Aside from dividing the students into 3 sessions, another concern is the prevention of leaked questions and misconduct, knowing full well that such a computerized assessment can be manipulated. By the chairman of the Federal University, Dr. Shokun, said the biometric...
I want to believe that one of the things that is helping JAM to avoid examination leakages of questions, is because they have fully deployed the concept of technology as well. The whole thing is the issue of intrusion, the issue of hacking, etc., is seemingly impossible.
This examination is meant universities ASO and other staff unions. In another series of this report, we'll find out if the division of the 1.7 million candidates into groups for the 10 days that the exam will last is a sign of implosion in university admissions system and the implications for the nation's tertiary education. Richard Elesomi for Osrc News.
Still talking education, talks between the federal government and the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, will resume next week as part of moves to end the lingering strike by the lecturers. According to Minister of Labour and Employment, Chris Ngige, negotiation will continue with ASU next week. He says strikes in the education sector could have been averted if unions embrace the federal government's open door policy. The move is the government's latest effort to end the strike, which was embarked on by ASU on February 14, 2022. Meanwhile, the federal government has approved the 2022 intervention funds for public tertiary institutions across the country. Executive Secretary, Tertiary Education Trust Fund, TET Fund, Sonny Echono, said this during a meeting with the leadership of the Committee of Nigerian Universities at the headquarters of the agency in Abuja. Echono said a meeting of all beneficiary institutions will hold on Monday, May 9, 2022 to discuss some of the proposed reforms that have been approved for implementation. Echono assured of the agency's commitment to sustain the ongoing reforms in the sector with increased emphasis on research, ICT, and in the areas of encouraging reading culture through publication of books. Some aspirants and leaders of the All Progressives Congress have reached an agreement to ensure that the region produces the next APC presidential candidate of the party. A former national chairman of the APC, Chief Bisi Akonde, at the end of the meeting with presidential aspirants from the zone in Lagos State, said the Southwest APC presidential aspirants, governors, and other leaders are united ahead of the 2023 general elections. The party's stalwarts and aspirants also agreed to talk to themselves and the public with absolute decorum. Those present at the meeting included Vice President Yemi Oshibajo, former Governor of Lagos and Ogun State, Bola Tinubu, Ibikunle Amosu, and the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Mr. Femi Gbajabiamila. The governors of Ondo, Lagos, Osun, Ogun, and Ekiti were also present.
And we have, as the elders of the APC caucus in the Southwest, to let you know that we are having, a reason to let you know that we are united on purpose, and the purpose is to ensure that the presidency of Nigeria 2023 will come to Southwest.
We'll now take commercial break. We'll be back after now. Do stay tuned.
My people, 20,000 naira bonus with your global and enjoy up to 20 cars. Free bonus.
I think I want to link this to my hand to my global.
That was simple now. 09 now, 09 hash. Or you can just text your NIN to whatever. Because we don't get NIN at all. Back any glow one and register. Free.
Abego, how Mr. Fete can join the 20,000 naira?
Whether you be old or new glow customer, collect your whoop now when we say in the hot. Bonus free.
No, so I don't receive my own bonus. No, thank you.
Up to 20 bonus free.
Watching OSRC News at 7. You can watch us live on our website www.osrc.ng or follow us on Facebook OSRC TV Ondo, and on YouTube you can subscribe to our channel OSRC TV Ondo. Ondo State Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu has dragged the bars of the Central Bank of Nigeria Emefiele to the public court over his declaration under the platform of the All Progressives Congress. Akeredolu, whose reaction followed the purchase of the expression of interest and nomination forms purportedly by the admirers of the Apex Bank chief to justify an amount to betrayal of public trust and confidence. The chairman of the Southern Governors Forum noted unarguably that Emefiele has a fundamental right, like other Nigerians, to pledge or own allegiance to any choice association, but his integrity and sincerity of purpose become suspicious by dabbling in partisan politics, knowing full well that he has masterly to the nation's vote. The governor therefore challenged Emefiele that if he must join the poll of presidential hopefuls, he must tread the path of honor by the virtue of his exalted position to resign, and if reluctant, President Muhammadu Buhari should show him the exit door, contending that the singular gesture will protect the dignity of the office of the CBN governor from political mockery. All is now set for asphalt overlay of the second phase of Oluwatoyi Ijoka Road dualization. The second phase, which began at Oluwatoyi roundabout through Ijomimo High School junction, is expected to be asphalted tomorrow. Residents of the area thanked Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu for coming to their aid and called for speedy completion of the work as the rainy season sets in. The site engineer, Mr. Ifedayo Abiodun, assured that the project will be delivered according to specification and on time.
Let me use this opportunity to appreciate the governor of Ondo State. There is no doubt that it's really working, and he has brought development to Ijoka. As well, we want to encourage the contractors handling this particular project to ensure speedy completion of the work.
As at the time of filing this report, wetting and priming are ongoing. The House of Representatives has called for an emergency plenary session on Monday. According to the House's clerk, Yahya Danzaria, the session, which is scheduled to commence at 2 p.m., is intended to discuss critical issues of national importance. The lawmakers last week had postponed plenary indefinitely due to the ongoing renovation of the chambers of the National Assembly. The vision to help individuals live a good life by resilience through hard work is the of La Buena Vida, a project under the Century 21 Freedom Group International Organization. To this end, non-governmental organization gathered members in Akure to appraise its exploits and celebrate its third-year anniversary in Ondo State. The event, which took place at the Dome, brought together members of the organization from various local governments in Ondo State. Joy Pius has details from our studios.
The Century 21 Freedom Group International is a non-governmental organization established to assist people in society realize their business goals by providing practical approaches to help them attain time, health, as well as financial freedom. The organization has several projects, one of which is the vision of creating monthly millionaires and helping people live a good life. In Akure, the La Buena Vida is celebrating its third-year anniversary with members gathering at the Dome to mark the day's celebration. La Buena Vida visionary leader in Akure, Mr. Adeniyi Dewade, in his welcome address, outlined the challenges as well as successes of the project in its 3 years of existence.
What we do, we are entrepreneurs. We teach and mentor people on how to succeed in business, any business they want to do, but we teach them how to raise money without going to the bank. The mission of the project is to raise 50,000 monthly millionaires before 2024. And we're already achieving it because we have some of our partners in Akure that are already making over 1 million naira per month.
The elite visionary leader, Century 21 Freedom Group International, Taiwo Shinyobade, reeled off the benefits attained to being on the team while calling on the public to partner with the organization to enjoy the benefits that comes with it.
While we're mentoring you, 2 things are going to happen to you. You're going to learn how to run any business successfully, and you're going to be making income through the business model we're going to teach you. At the end of it, you can run any business successfully and you will have money as capital to start your own business, whatever it is you're passionate about. And we have changed, I can tell you, we have changed thousands of lives. People who were bricklayers, people who were taxi drivers, people who were collecting 30,000 naira salary, and suddenly now they're making over 800,000 naira, 2 million naira monthly.
Members narrated how joining the organization has impacted their lives positively.
Today, I'll be free from the bondage of salary, and I have my time freedom, and also I have my health freedom by making use of the product. So I don't used to sick, and that has been helping me a lot.
I've been able to fire my boss. Today I don't work for anybody, I work for myself, and this business has transformed my life. And today I've been able to raise thousands of people, now up to about 10,000 people that are now beneficiary of this initiative.
Guests who graced the event commended the exploits of the organization.
They encourage you to work, they provide an enabling environment, they supply you with the tools of the trade, and make you ultimately not just an employer of many other people, but a builder of the nation's economy.
Members who have distinguished themselves through partnership with the organization were awarded checks to help boost their morals.
Amid alleged uproar review of electricity tariff, the chairman Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission (NERC), Mr. Sanusi Garba, has dispelled the speculation as untrue. Garba explained in Abuja that the last tariff adjustment was approved in December last year, which became effective in February this year. The chairman did not only deny the increase but also maintained that there is no indication that any electricity distribution company is contemplating a rise in tariff, and advised the public not to fall prey to cheap blackmail. He added that electricity consumers who observe change in their tariff should not hesitate to show evidence instead of engaging in rumor mill. Ministry of Aviation has appealed to local airline operators to reconsider their decision to shut down operations over the rising cost of aviation fuel. Special Assistant to the Minister on Public Affairs, James Odaudo, said the federal government has asked the airlines to consider the implications of the planned action. According to the statement, the ministry is engaging agencies, institutions, and individuals on how to assuage the situation. It appealed to airline operators to consider the multiplier effects on shutting down operations on Nigerians and global travelers. The ancient city of Okakoko last Saturday hosted dignitaries from across Nigeria to pay their last respects to the former chairman of Akoko Southwest local government area, Pa Michael Arishe. Pa Arishe, father-in-law of a former Osrc Deputy Director of News and Current Affairs, Mr. Sunday Ajongbolo, died at age 84, and members of the Nigerian Union of Journalists, Ondo State Council, registered their presence at the funeral. OSRC's Richard Ilesomi completes the story.
Capacity as traditional and political leaders, sons and daughters of the community, and beneficiaries of Pa Michael Arishe's philanthropy crowded the church to pay their last respects to the community leader. Born on March 24, 1938, Pa Arishe served as the chairman of Akoko Southwest Local Government Area in 2013, and the council was said to have seen notable developments during the period. In this coffin lay the veteran teacher who died at aged 84, the father-in-law of former West House's Sunday Ajongolo, and members of the Nigeria Union of Journalists, NUJ Ondo State Council, registered their presence. After the funeral service, his remains were taken to for a while. Service of humanity and meritoriously served Oka community.
I just believe my father leave a legacy. He leave a legacy for
God, for his life, and for what he was able to, because he was able to impart positively on the life of others, and to me, as a person, as his in-law.
My father could afford to go to bed with empty stomach to ensure that the children can have quality education. You know, he was a great man, and one particular thing I want to say about my dad is his sincerity.
Attention then shifted to the field of the African Church Grammar School, where guests were treated to nice delicacies as popular gospel artists Adegbodu Twins entertained the gathering.
I always call him His Excellency, and he calls me Ambassador. So we are friends. He taught me how to work. He taught me discipline, self-control. You know, a lot of things. And truth is something I learned from him as well.
A distinguished community leader and astute politician, late Pa Michael Arishe served Oka community in various capacities and was board member of a number of schools. Richard Lesomi, Osrc News.
The United Kingdom has clarified that it did not designate the indigenous people of Biafra IPOB as a terrorist organization. The clarification comes after it emerged that the UK sought to exclude IPOB members who have committed human rights abuses from its asylum program. The British High Commission in Abuja, in a statement, said this was not the case, describing it as inaccurate reporting circulating in the media and online. The United Kingdom, in the statement, said the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, is not a proscribed organization in the UK, considered on their individual facts in accordance with its obligations under the UN Refugee Convention and European Convention on Human Rights, taking into account relevant background, country information, and case law. The UK's Conservative Party has lost hundreds of seats in local council elections. The main opposition Labour Party made significant gains in London but was less successful outside the capital. Odwaya Sawyer reports.
This was a Labour win that could not have been closer to home for the Conservatives. The party had controlled local government in Westminster since 1964. Now, for the first time, the famous streets of power here are run by a Labour-controlled city of Westminster Council. London boroughs Barnet and Wandsworth also fell to the Labour Party. Wandsworth was taken after 44 years of Conservative rule. But despite the election of Labour's leader Keir Starmer outside London, Labour gains were turning out to be modest. He was nevertheless in good cheer.
This is a massive turning point for the Labour Party. From the depths of 2019, we're back on track now for the general election, showing what the change that we've done, the hard change we've done in the last 2 years, what a difference it has made.
But had this been a general election, the results wouldn't have stacked up to make Keir Starmer Prime Minister. Boris Johnson chose to visit a school in West London as results were coming in. The maths weren't good for the Prime Minister.
It's mid-term and it's certainly a mixed set of results, and we've had a tough night in some parts of the country, but on the other hand, in other parts of the country you're still seeing Conservatives going forward and making quite remarkable gains in places that haven't voted Conservative for a long time, or if ever.
Partygate, the scandal over COVID rule breaches in Downing Street, including by Johnson himself, loom large in this election. But the overall damage to the governing Conservative Party is less than expected, and for Labour, out of the blue, something to dampen the celebrations. Police have announced they have reopened an investigation into claims that Starmer also breached COVID-19 regulations when drinking beer in office with a group of colleagues. In essence, the message from London voters does not reflect the mood all over the country. However, the Conservative Party will have to work hard to try to quell mid-term dissent. So these results aren't really a disaster, but at the very least, they serve as a big warning shot, and the main target has been Boris Johnson for his wrongdoings and his style of leadership. Many Londoners have given a negative verdict to the Conservative Party, and that is going to resonate in the corridors of power here. Odunayo Sawyer, OSRC News.
And with that report, we conclude OSRC News at 7. But before we go, another look at the top stories. Candidates in Ondo State have expressed satisfaction over the conduct of ongoing 2022 UTME. Chieftains of the All Progressives Congress in the Southwest have agreed to be united to produce the next president in 2023. Federal government has called on airline operators in the country to rescind their decision to shut down operations as from Monday. And from the foreign scene, Prime Minister Boris Johnson's party has suffered heavy losses in UK local elections. And that's the news. Thanks for watching. Good evening.